Hello, everyone. My name is Chad Carwein, and I'm the Sustainability Manager for ECU. I've recorded this guest lecture for classes as well as group presentations, and I always start off by asking a simple question. What is sustainability? And usually, I get a variety of answers, but inevitably someone says recycling. And we call that the great gateway drug to sustainability. If we can get you thinking about how to properly dispose of materials, also things like your diet and transportation, all of these things factor into sustainability. But at least somebody is probably watching this video right now, wondering what this tree-hugging hippie with a beard and a man bun is doing presenting to you. That's not a picture of me. That's just a stock Google image. But you'd be right if an image like this came to mind, thinking about the environment. Also thinking about the economy as well as society. And at the intersection of economic prosperity, environmental stewardship, and social equity is this moving target called sustainability that we're chasing. Another way to think about it is, in the business world, you've probably heard of the triple bottom line, giving equal value to people, prosperity, and planet. Things have evolved quite a bit in the field of sustainability, and the definition has become quite complex. However, this next one is a simple way of relaying that the emphasis needs to shift in our decision making, whether that's at work, in our personal lives, while we're pursuing an education here at the university. We really need to place more emphasis on the environment. And I think that this simple diagram here on the right does a pretty good job of explaining that. It's got 3 circles. The smallest one at the center is labeled the economy, and it's enclosed in a circle labeled society. And the reason for that is that the economy depends on society. In fact, it's just a construct of society, the exchange of goods and services for money. But the economy relies on people to provide labor in manufacturing processes, as well as providing service in that industry. Now, both of those circles, the economy and society, are enclosed in an even larger one labeled the environment. And when you think about it, not only does our economy depend on the environment for raw materials and sources of energy that we extract from the earth, but society does as well. What are the 3 most basic things we need to live? Clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and healthy soil to grow food in. So you can start to see that quickly both people and our economy rely totally on the environment. And so therefore, I think we're at a point here where we need to start placing more emphasis on how our decisions affect the environment so that we can sustain ourselves. Why does it matter for ECU though? Well, for one thing, ECU is part of the UNC system. There's 17 institutions that span across the state of North Carolina from the mountains to the coast that make up the UNC system. And in 2009, the UNC system adopted a sustainability policy that gave authority to universities within the system to establish sustainability programs and offices and departments, hire staff to work on sustainability efforts. Some schools already had these programs and positions in place. However, for schools like ECU, it gave us the precedent to go forward and create them. And we did just that by creating the University Sustainability Committee shortly after that policy was adopted. Now, I am the first sustainability manager for the university, and I started in March 2016, so I've been here for a little over 5 years now. And one of the first things that we did was begin to work on developing a sustainability plan for the university. And I put together a team of over 60 students, staff, faculty, and community members. And we worked over the course of a year and eventually published and got adopted by the chancellor and his executive council, the ECU Sustainability Plan, in fall 2018. Now, the timing of that plan couldn't have been better because we had recently gone through a process shortly after I started in 2016 of updating our strategic plan. And in the strategic plan for the university, we list 3 commitments. The first is student success. That's why we're all here. We want our students to succeed, get their degrees, and move on and have successful careers. The second is public service, which is essentially the motto of the university, Servir, to serve. We have a long history of public service at ECU. And the third and commitment from our strategic plan is regional transformation. And this one is really interesting because I think it presents a lot of opportunities for ECU to really take a leadership role in our region of Eastern North Carolina, especially when it comes to sustainability. So having those 3 strategic plan commitments, we were able to integrate those throughout the sustainability plan. And all of our goals and objectives across the 4 focus areas, which are climate change mitigation, campus grounds, materials management, and academics and research. All of our goals and objectives help to ensure that the university reaches those commitments: public service, student success, and regional transformation. So basically in the plan, we're speaking the language of the university's administration, and we're helping the entire university achieve the commitments laid out in the strategic plan. Now, we recently updated our campus master plan, and having already in place our sustainability plan, we were able to weave the goals of the sustainability plan throughout the campus master plan update. And that's not just some big binder that sits on a shelf and collects dust. It is the blueprint for the future development of our campus, including our Millennial campus, which is going to be Intersect East. It's sort of the warehouse district that they're going through the design process now of developing, and then also the need for a new medical education building, which we should see funding approved for hopefully within this budget cycle. So this is, the growth of our campus and how we're going to make it more sustainable moving forward. Now, in terms of awards and recognition, you can see here we've already received quite a few just in the first 5 years of having a sustainability program. We are Tree Campus USA 5 years running. We've been a bicycle-friendly university since 2014. We've most recently earned the designation of B Campus USA, and I'll talk more about some of those efforts later. As a result of participating in these recognition programs, as well as the ASHE STARS program, which stands for Sustainability Tracking, Assessment, and Rating System, we received a silver rating in that most recently back in 2020. But by participating in all these programs, we've also been included in the Princeton Review Guide to Green Schools, as well as their Guide to the Best 385 Colleges for the first time ever. And these are powerful recruiting tools. Now, I throw this in here to get a little bit of shock value out of my presentation, but we can't really play the guessing game. So I'll just pause for a moment and ask, what do you think the university spends on electricity in a year? Just go on and take the next 20 seconds or so to think about how much do you think our electric bill is. Now, if you're living on campus, your bills are a part of your room and board and tuition and all that stuff, so you probably don't have to think about it much. But if you're living off campus, I would imagine you paid a few bills by now. So just go ahead to yourself, throw out a number, and then compare it to $10.8 million. So almost $11 million. Few years ago when I was, just getting started here, that number was right around 12 million. So our monthly electric bill is about $1 million. Just let that sink in. Hopefully I did get some of that shock value, some jaws dropping out there with people watching this. Natural gas is a significantly cheaper resource. We use it to heat our buildings and our water supply. Still nearly $3 million a year on natural gas. Water, significantly cheaper, especially in these parts of the state and the country. We pay relatively cheap water rates, but we, in a normal year, pre-COVID and hopefully moving forward, we have nearly 6,000 students living on campus. So that's a lot of water use for showers and brushing teeth and going to the bathroom and stuff like that. So it quickly adds up. Again, nearly $2 million on water. Now, I mention these things because, we're all paying these bills, whether you're watching this as a student, as a staff, or as a faculty member, or just a community member. Everyone is paying these bills because our budget for utilities comes from state taxpayer dollars. So we should all feel an incentive to reduce ECU's utility consumption, electricity, natural gas, and water. Some of our goals, this is actually one of the state mandates that came out of Governor Cooper's Executive Order 80 back in fall 2018, is to reduce energy consumption 40% by 2025. The UNC system in that sustainability plan also has a goal of climate neutrality by 2050. And here is a look at where we are on some of those goals. I'm going to jump ahead to this one. There's where we are towards the 40% energy reduction goal. We're at about 30%. But I'll tell you that first 30% was the low-hanging fruit out there that we were able to grab at fairly reasonable costs. Everything moving forward is just going to be more expensive and bigger projects to undertake. Water consumption, we're at 44% reduction since 2003, which is pretty good. And then our landfill diversion rate is about 37%, but the number you need to really think about here is that we're only recycling about 1 out of 3 pieces of paper, cardboard boxes, plastic bottles, metal things like that. That is a number that really needs to go up. We need to do a better job investing in the infrastructure, but we also need everyone to participate in recycling. It's just simply not something that we can improve upon, just by having more staff or something like that collecting recyclables. Here's a look at our greenhouse gas emissions inventory. This is something that I keep track of and quantify every year. In 2020, obviously, there was a lot of things different in terms of the operations of our campus, and so our greenhouse gas emissions were significantly lower. Now we anticipate those to go back up as we, steer towards more normal operations. But you can see here I've got highlighted purchased electricity, that nearly $11 million a year. That's the driving force behind our greenhouse gas emissions profile. Some of the other things that people might not associate with this is commuting, just how students, staff, and faculty get to and from campus. That also makes up a decent chunk of our carbon footprint, if you will. As well as solid waste. This is not a huge factor, but it does contribute because everything that we throw in the landfill, or we throw in a trash can that goes to the landfill, rather than recycle and divert from the landfill, those materials break down, and over time they eventually start to release methane. And methane is a much more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide, more effective at capturing heat. So, that's how it's all connected there with solid waste disposal. Academics, we do actually have some exciting new opportunities to present about here, but I just want to show you some of the course offerings that are related to sustainability. You can see so many different subject areas have courses related to the environment: economics, geology, sociology, planning, marketing. You can take a course that's sustainability in a lot of different subjects, and as many different courses as there are across different subjects, we've got also a lot of different faculty doing research within the field of sustainability and contributing to the body of knowledge in this field. Here's one of the new exciting things that I wanted to talk about is the environmental studies program. Now, this is a multidisciplinary degree program, so it's a little bit different than your typical degree tracks, but it does offer a lot of flexibility and would be a great second major to add on to a lot of different other degree programs. And you can look here at some of the different career pathways that you have. For instance, right here, that's what I do, Sustainability Program Manager, and I'm always happy to talk about my job and sort of the path I took especially with students who are think that they're getting interested in this field. It's never a dull moment. There's always a new exciting challenge or opportunity to pursue to try and improve the efficiency of our campus and try and raise awareness around these issues, and to try to integrate sustainability into the curriculum. So keep this in mind. It's a new program, but it is available now, and you can talk to your counselor if you want to know more information about the environmental studies multidisciplinary degree option that you have. Another exciting opportunity in the academic realm is spending a semester at the coast. ECU partnered with UNC Chapel Hill to open up and maintain the Coastal Studies Institute, which is located out in Manteo and on the Outer Banks. And it's a beautiful campus. It's a LEED Gold sustainable building. Students have an off-campus site to live out there on the Outer Banks and take classes there and participate in research. There's so many amazing opportunities going on the coast at the Outer Banks, and I would recommend anybody that's interested. And you don't have to be, pursuing coastal resources management or biology or anything like that. There's all sorts of different tracks that you can go on through this semester experience at the coast. Some examples of student projects. I work a lot with, for instance, capstones, have done energy audits and waste audits on buildings, service learning classes that have worked at the Greenville Community Garden that I manage, certifying departments in the Green Office program. These are some examples of class assignments where students have worked on various initiatives for the sustainability program, like mapping of sustainability features, doing cost-benefit analysis on different technologies, and then running campaigns to try and discourage people from throwing confetti on campus for graduation photos was one that a communications campaign class did last year. So if you have ideas, if you need to get experience for your degree program, like an internship, or if you have a group project coming up, reach out to me and I'll put my contact information up at the end, because there are so many opportunities to get involved. And these are all great resume builders as well. So let's work together. All right, now here I'm going to just touch on some of these different topic areas briefly, but I will pause to say that my job is pretty unique. So I'm a facilities employee, which is underneath campus operations and administration and finance. However, I do get the opportunity to work a lot with students and faculty and community members, which that's what makes my position in facilities pretty unique. I also do work a lot sort of behind the scenes with the folks that keep the lights on, the water running, the grass cut, like all of our different shops that we have within campus operations and facilities. And I'm going to talk about some of the good work that they're doing. So in terms of energy, we have HVAC automation systems. Rather than each building controlling its own temperatures, we control everything from centralized locations. We've upgraded most of the lighting to LEDs across campus. These are some solar tables that are outside of Brody. We do have a project that we're working on to try and bring a rooftop solar array to Health Sciences campus as well. We do use quite a few different types of alternative fuels, electric vehicles, vehicles that run off of ethanol, and all of our new transit buses. We have about 7 in the fleet so far, but every new one moving forward will run off of compressed natural gas, which results in about 25% less emissions than diesel. In terms of water conservation, installing fixtures that reduce the flow of water, like toilet sheds, faucet aerators. These don't really save water, but we do have over 150 of the bottle refill stations, and we install more of those each year. They're more safe and sanitary as well, which is important to keep in mind during this era of COVID. Refilling your bottle rather than drinking out of the water fountain. And those just help us keep plastic bottles out of the landfill as well. All right, here is a big topic here that we've had a lot of changes. And I know that last year was very weird in terms of people getting sent home. And so if you're coming back and starting your sophomore year, or you're a new freshman, or maybe even if you're a junior and senior and you just can't keep up with all the rules, here are the rules for recycling on campus. So basically, if you just focus on these blue boxes in the middle, those are the 3 types of items that can be recycled. And I think it's pretty straightforward when we talk about metal, cans and tins and stuff like that. Paper, we're just looking for newspaper, office paper, and cardboard. No shiny or glossy paper, no magazines and envelopes with the plastic. Unfortunately, can't do that. But here's where it gets kind of tricky. So we're really just looking for water, soda, juice bottles, milk jugs, detergent bottles. Nothing with pumps. Empty the things out, so keep it very basic when it comes to plastic. And really, that's it. I mean, at this point, we're not really accepting glass on campus because our local materials recovery facility has stopped accepting glass. Now there are some containers, some dumpsters around town within Pitt County that have collection containers for glass. If you want to collect your own glass and take it to those, they're listed online. But some of the more common items that I think we see on college campuses, disposable cups. So those are like the Solo cups, Starbucks, the to-go drink containers from the dining retail centers, aerosol cans, so hairspray and deodorant, plastic food containers like yogurt and sour cream, and then unfortunately even food boxes like cereal and mac and cheese. Those unfortunately are no longer accepted in our recycling stream. Oh, and then another thing that people mistake is that they want to put all of their recyclables in a bag and then tie a nice little neat knot on it. Please do not bag your recyclables. It can clog up the mechanical sorting system at the recycling center. So don't have to bag them. Just put them loosely in the collection containers. Grounds, they do an amazing job. These are some of the best sustainability champions we have on campus. They are out working outside in all kinds of weather and elements and temperatures. I think that they have a greater appreciation of the environment because they do work outside and they're more in touch with nature. But we're doing all kinds of things like drought-tolerant plants to try and reduce the need for irrigation, cisterns to capture rainwater, helping out with stormwater mitigation through permeable pavement and rain gardens and constructed wetlands. They are also using some alternative fuels with propane mowers and electric gators. Pollinator habitats. So some of these things helped us secure the Bee Campus USA designation. We do have 6 hives. There are 3 over here on Health Sciences campus near Lake Laupus, and then there are 3 over at the Belt Complex. And we also have Fee2Bee pollinator habitats near each of our apiaries and some educational displays around near the hives as well. It's really important, and I'll take just a second here to talk about this, that we protect pollinators because without honeybees, we wouldn't have 1 out of 3 bites of food. A lot of fruit and nut trees and varieties of produce are pollinated by bees and other insects. So, we really need to protect them for our food source. But they also, they're suffering from a variety of things, and the phenomenon is known as colony collapse disorder. And worldwide, we estimate that we've lost about 50% of honeybee populations. And so on campus, we're trying to establish habitat for pollinators by planting, native pollinator-friendly gardens around campus. We're also using less chemical pesticides to treat for weeds and other types of pests because those affect the bees as well. Globally, we're seeing habitat loss from human land development and then also climate change. As our winters are shorter and more mild, pests that prey on honeybees, for instance, varroa mites and wax moths, hive beetles, and some other predatory insects, they can establish and grow their populations and expand their range when we don't have as strong of or as low of temperatures in the winter. So climate change is contributing to the loss of honeybee populations as well. So that's why it's important that we're doing this kind of work on campus here at ECU to help protect pollinators. Okay, food and dining. Not many people probably realize this, but we do have a freight farm on campus. It's a used shipping container that's been converted into an indoor hydroponic growing operation, and we grow lettuce and other types of mixed greens in there. When this thing's operating at full capacity, we can harvest 500 heads of lettuce a week, which is over 20,000 heads of lettuce a year. And all of this stuff is used in the dining halls and in catering and in our food trucks as well. This thing has the equivalent of what you can produce on 2 acres of land, and it's just in a used shipping container. It's located right behind Jones Residence Hall if anyone's interested in checking it out. We use recycled paper products, recycle all of our used cooking oil, and one of the best things that we've done is way back in 2007, we took trays out of the dining halls. Something that simple has multiple benefits. Reduces water use because you don't have to wash the trays. We also used hot water, so it saves energy. And we also don't have to purchase or discharge chemicals into the sanitary sewer system. And colleges and universities and other large institutions have been studying the effects of taking trays out of these large dining halls and cafeterias for long enough that we know that it also reduces food waste by taking trays out as well. So, simple things like that can have huge benefits, especially over several years at a place the size of East Carolina University. In terms of transportation, we do have 6 electric vehicle charging stations. We just went from 3 to 6, doubled our electric vehicle charging capacity over the summer. And that was made possible through a grant with the Division of Air Quality and the Volkswagen settlement funds. Those are, the new ones are located, there's 2 in the parking garage that has enough for 4 vehicles to charge, and then there's 1 behind the Student Center on Health Sciences campus as well now. I already talked about ECU Transit using compressed natural gas, but another thing that a lot of people don't know, that the routes and schedules are all on NextBus. You can see, and this is an app that you can download, but you can see real time where the buses are so that you don't have to stand outside in the rain or the cold or the heat. You can just kind of wait indoors and know right when your bus is going to come. And obviously it's free to ride for students, staff, and faculty with your one card. Green buildings. We don't have a huge green building portfolio, but we are now starting to certify new construction again. And so, in fact, which this building opened back in 2017, but the Student Center on Health Sciences campus was recently earned the status of LEED Gold building. And LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. It's a green building rating system. So. All right, so here's the third and final section of my presentation. Just want to talk to you about some events and opportunities to get involved on campus and do some volunteer work, that public service commitment that should be a part of everybody's efforts here at the university. So I do host a monthly film and discussion series, and the first film that we're going to be screening is Kiss the Ground on September 16th, and that'll be at 6 p.m. on the lawn and the huge Pirate Vision screen that's on the backside of the Student Center. This is a film all about about climate change, but it's narrated by Woody Harrelson, and we do have an ECU faculty member, Ariana Peralta, and lead a brief discussion afterwards. The second film of the fall semester will be From Paris to Pittsburgh on October 20th at 6 p.m. in the Student Center Black Box Theater. And then we will wrap up the fall series of film screenings with Game Changers, which is about athletes, elite athletes that are vegetarian and vegan, and how that has actually helped them excel in the sports that they play. And so dispelling a lot of the myths around vegetarianism and veganism. But anyways, that one will be November 16th at 6 p.m. in the Student Center Black Box Theater. So come out and I guarantee you'll learn something from these films and hopefully be inspired to get more involved. Speaking of getting involved, Eco Pirates is one of the oldest groups on campus, and they're going to be kicking off their bi-weekly meetings on Wednesday, September 8th in the main campus Student Center, room 234. This group does all kinds of different activities, but leads waste audits and fundraising events, does river and greenway cleanups. Just a great group of students to get involved with that are into all things sustainability. Some other groups with a little bit more specific focuses include Relief, Pirates on the Water, Coastal Society, American Fisheries Society, Biology Graduate Student Association, and others. I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to work with several nonprofit organizations and boards and commissions within the local community. Here's just a few of them: Love a Sea Turtle, Tar River Beekeepers, frogs is Friends of Greenville Greenways. And if you haven't been on the Greenway, I highly recommend everybody get out there and check it out. Basically, if you leave campus and you just start heading north towards the river, you're going to run into a segment of the Greenway. It runs parallel to the South Tar River, and it's about 3 miles from end to end. You can also loop around and catch other parts of the Greenway or throughout the community. But it's an amazing resource that we have that unfortunately too many students just aren't aware of. We've also got Keep Greenville Beautiful, and the local chapter of the Sierra Club is the Cypress Group. They're always looking to get college students involved with their efforts and campaigns. And then we also have a Relief, which is where the student ECU chapter came out of, but organization that does tree plantings around the community each year. Here are some volunteer service opportunities. I manage the Greenville Community Garden in partnership with Love a Sea Turtle, and it's located again down on the in the grid by the Tar River Greenway. And we have work days that start at 9 a.m. on all of those dates. The first one after school starts will be Saturday, August 28th. And then in recognition of 9/11 Day of Service, we will be having a work day out at the garden on Friday, September 10th. And then you can see we've got a couple of work days in October and one more to wrap up our fall planting season in November. Here's a look at some of our group shots at the garden. We've had groups of staff and faculty members. We've had groups of high school students and also ECU college students as well. It's a good time. It really is. Come out and you know, give back to the community and meet some friends. We always have a good time down there. Some other volunteer service opportunities. We do monthly cleanups at the Town Creek Culvert. This is an area that is helping with the stormwater in the uptown district of Greenville. Basically, it's just off of campus, right? It starts at 5th Street, kind of near where the big East Carolina University sign is, and then heads north up towards the river. And it basically used to be a series of underground pipes that would discharge our stormwater from the uptown district to the river. And now basically what we've done is daylit those streams, got pipes and opened it up and put a bunch of, you know, rocks and natural ways to filter the water before it gets to the river. However, those rocks and berms and stuff are collecting trash down there. So we go and clean up the litter before it flows on down to the river. We'll be doing those at 2 p.m. on the dates listed there: Tuesday, August 31st, Wednesday, October 6th, and Wednesday, November 3rd. A new opportunity that we have, and it's a little bit out there, it's way off of campus in Falkland, which is northwest of Greenville, but the university owns a property called Otter Creek Natural Area, and we're trying to go out there and basically reestablish the trails. So we'll be meeting at the Student Center bus loop at 2 p.m. to catch a ride to the sites. Trail work days will start at 2:30 p.m. on the following dates. And so we've got, again, it's just the day or 2 days after the litter cleanups. Each time the following day we'll be going out and doing trail maintenance as well. This is one of the most beautiful tracts of land that I've seen in Pitt County. It actually has a lot of elevation and a wide diversity of plants, some plants that aren't even really supposed to be growing this far east in the coastal plains, like mountain laurel, which typically you only see out in Western Carolina. So mark your calendar for some of these opportunities. Get out there, get some volunteer service hours. And all of these events are listed on Give Pulse, which is a great tool that you can use, especially if you're a freshman or sophomore, to start tracking your volunteer service that you do while you're in college. And again, you know, these things can help you get scholarships, can help you become part of like service and honors organizations, and look great on your resume as well. So come out, and I guarantee you'll also meet some cool people if you come out to these events. Lastly, I'm just going to leave you with some tips to go green before we finish up here. Eat less meat. Even if you can try to do like meatless Mondays or a few days a week, eating meat is the biggest contributor to your personal carbon footprint. So if you can try to eat even just a little bit less each week, it will add up and make a significant difference. Unplug devices when they're not in use. Obviously, you don't want to unplug your wireless router or something like that. But if you can go around and unplug microwaves and TVs and coffee makers and stuff like that, those actually use a decent amount of electricity in your house. It's called vampire energy or phantom power. Basically, it's just continually sucking energy from those devices, and it can add up to 10 to 15% of your household energy consumption. So if you have a $100 a month bill, that's 10 to 15 bucks a month. I don't know who couldn't use that in their pocket. Setting your thermostat to 68 in the winter and 74 in the summer. You can always, put a sweatshirt on when you're at home if you're cool, or open a window in the spring and fall rather than cranking up the AC and stuff. Only running your washing machine and with full loads. I feel like most people do that just out of common sense anymore. Don't buy bottled water. When you think about it, it costs about $10 a gallon when you add it up. So it's pretty ridiculous. It's free out of the tap. We have very good water quality here in Greenville. We're fortunate for that. Bus, bike, walk, or carpool as much as possible. Reduce your transportation impacts. And then try to rethink before you do the other 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle, because our purchasing habits, we can reduce a lot at the source by just rethinking things that we purchase, purchasing in bulk or purchasing stuff with less packaging, can go a long way. And then finally, as you've done here today, continue to educate yourself and spread the word about environmental issues to friends and family. Invite a friend, make it a date, come to a film screening or come to a litter cleanup. It's something fun that you can do that wouldn't be, just your typical type of thing. But spread the word. And here's the way to connect with us and do just that. At Sustain ECU on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And then we have a wealth of information on sustain.ecu.edu, including a live camera where you can check out our bees that we have over on Health Sciences campus. So thank you very much, and hopefully I'll be able to see some of you in person this fall and work with you on a project or a campaign or an event. So thanks, everyone.